Thomas, one of you guys can speak on this chapter. If not, I can give a background and you guys can give your opinion on that. So the good lender chapter was about Roden. He wanted to lend money to somebody in his family who asked for it, but he didn't know if it was a good idea because he had just came up on a bunch of money. So he sought out counsel from a financial advisor named Mathen, and basically he gave him a whole lesson about lending money out to people and how you should not lend money out to people without getting collateral, because that can secure your loan to them. And also you need to have a promise of wages to be earned if that person cannot pay you your money back. I feel like a lot of people, when you come up on a large amount of money, you get a lot of people who may now have all these needs and wants and want your assistance or want to be your friend. And those people can lead you into losing all your money because you're lending out money without promise of receiving it back. So does anybody have any opinion on that chapter or that subject at all? Did you guys know that that was a thing, an option of when you lend out money to be able to have promise of receiving your money back? Or have you guys ever lended out money and came across that issue where you weren't able to receive it back because someone didn't have the financial ability to? Thomas, you can speak.
Okay, so when you're lending out money, like this is just from like, a societal standpoint, it's kind of hard to stop. You start like handing out money and you're kind of expected, you're expected to keep going. You're in this chasm of like giving out more money and more money because it's just kind of what's expected from you after like that first batch, I guess, of money you give. So that's what like the danger of that is.
Definitely. Does anybody else have any opinion on that subject as well? Okay, and then one more chapter that I do wanted to touch on was the camel trader of Babylon. Does Shakari, do you want to speak on this chapter of the book? Or Peyton, do you want to speak on this chapter of the book?
Okay, is that a yes or no? I don't, there seems to be very little conversation. If you don't have anything to add, you just need to say you don't.
I don't really have anything to add.
Okay, yeah, just say that whenever someone's speaking, just let them know you hear them.
Okay. So, Nairobi, were you referring to the last chapter of the book?
Yeah, the camel trader of Babylon about Tarkad, or how to say it.
Mm-hmm. I'll speak on that. But yeah, excuse the background noise. I'm out with my family right now. But I think that story definitely represented how you can work very hard for a long time, and sometimes things may not go your way at first, because I know the camel trader, at first he was a slave, and then he had to like work super hard for all his earnings, and something happened with his owner, where basically the money lender had to take him from his owner, and then he started to have to do more extra hard work. And after that situation happened, eventually he started like second guessing himself and doubting all the hard work he did. But in the end, one of his friends ended up setting him free. And I think that that just symbolizes how at first things may not go your way in life based on like how hard you work, but if you trust the process, everything will work out in the end.
Definitely. The main lesson I gained from this chapter was self-pity and allowing the circumstances to direct your life are the actions of a man or woman with the soul of a slave. So he had talked to the camel owner about basically the mindset of a slave and the mindset of a free man. And so he said, taking charge of those circumstances in your life, taking action when action is needed are the ways of a man and woman with a free soul. The only way to make yourself successful is to take on the mantle of a free man's soul, having the courage and determination to be accountable. Eventually you will be honored and respected. So Tarkad had owed money to everybody, and he began just self-pitying himself and not having, just feeling like he was the honorable person who did all these things and worked hard all his life. And so he began having the mindset of a slave and not feeling like he had any hope of getting out this situation, when it was all about his mindset. If you have the mindset of a free person who was able to get out of the hole, then you will have the mindset to achieve anything and be successful all over again. So that was the main message of the chapter, The Camel Trader of Babylon. Rishi, did you want to speak on that?
Yeah, I agree with that. And I also think like another kind of lesson I learned was to not take like alternative, like I guess like immoral paths, even if you're like in hardship. Because like I remember it saying like Tarek Carter, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he like went on to a path of like stealing like food, money, and things like that because he was like in debt. And I remember how like the camel trader, like Dabasir also said that he used to be like a slave, and he used to spend a lot of money, and then when he was in debt, he started stealing and then realized that his success was like short-lived. So I think it just kind of goes to say that like the answer to like getting out of hardship is not like through kind of like bad means, but you should do it through moral ways.
Definitely. Thomas, did you want to speak on this as well?
Well, I have another point I want to bring up. We didn't mention it, and it was about like the part where he mentioned that you shouldn't take advice from people who aren't like competent to give it. So he mentioned like don't take financial advice from a bricklayer, and I think that's really important because we see like public figures sometimes giving us advice on certain things, or celebrities, and we just take it in our brain, but we have to realize that sometimes these people aren't really like fit to give us this advice, and we're only taking that advice because they're people that have influence over us, like celebrities or other public figures. So I think it's important to kind of realize who that advice is coming from, and if that really means something coming from them.
Definitely, I agree. That also goes into like protecting your wealth. And I definitely feel like it really ties into all the 7 cures for lean. Do you guys have any opinion about the 7 cures? Does anybody want to speak on that? Does anybody know what the 7 cures are? If you just want to stay what those are.
I know the first one is like save your money, and I think the second one it's save it's not save, it's don't spend more than you need, and then invest wisely.
Yeah, I'll say the last 4.
Mm-hmm.
The 4th one is avoid investments that sound too good to be true. The 5th one is own your home. The 6th one is protect yourself with life insurance. And the 7th one is strive to become wiser and more knowledgeable.
Does any one of those stand out to you guys, or does any one of you guys feel like you want to implement one of those moving forward?
Definitely save money.
I feel like
don't spend more than you need.
Oh, was that Peyton? I'm sorry, I didn't.
Oh, I was saying I think investing is really important to like also grow in wealth, but also investing wisely so that your money doesn't go down the drain.
Definitely. I agree. That kind of tied into, for me, one that stood out was make your money work for you. So that one more so was about having your money invested into something, or you take your money and you put it into an investment so that it's able to produce more money that you won't need to keep, oh, just having 10% income only saved, whereas you have income saved from your investments as well. Now building up, and your money is making money for itself, but you're not only relying on the money that you get from work. Robert, did you want to speak on that?
I wanted to speak on item number 3 that we have. I think, investing wisely is a one key pointer, especially once you get out into the real world. A lot of people these days, they like to make investments on, when it comes to property, when it comes to stocks, there's a lot of things, and if you invest something that really suits you, I mean, there are a lot of things that you can invest in, whether it's your passion or you just think that it's a perfect moneymaker. So just to really point it out, if you really think that investing in something, is really worth it, I would suggest investing in it wisely, but also making sure, is it really worth it after all? Because, I know people that have made investments in stocks specifically. And one of the things that they did is, it was really geared to their passion. So, that's really what sticks out in my mind is, you're going to invest in something, do it to where I think that it's either your passion or it's something that you're really for altogether.
Definitely. I agree. Does anybody else have any last comments that they wanted to make or something that they learned from the book? Do y'all? Oh,
I'm sorry. I think like the ultimate thing that I got from this book was to just be aware. Like there were certain instances where it was like you have to kind of like better yourself in order to kind of invest, like kind of what Robert said, to invest properly and also, or wisely, my bad. Also, sometimes investing doesn't have to be like in a thing. It doesn't have to be like in stocks or in like a house or whatever. You could also like invest in yourself. So bettering yourself, putting more knowledge into yourself, making yourself better. So like self-care, that type of stuff. So that's really what I got from this book.
Definitely, I agree. I believe one of the lessons was to invest in yourself because you can acquire new skills that will help you generate more money as well. You don't always have to just invest in stocks, bonds, or real estate. You can also invest in yourself so that you gain more skills and knowledge to be able to further your income. So that's definitely a big one that I feel you guys should take away from this book as well. Does anybody have any last comments before we close out our book discussion?
Yeah, I have a comment and a question for everybody. First,
yeah,
I just wanted to, because you were just talking about also the importance of like gaining that knowledge, and they also talk about speaking to people and forming connections with people that are experienced, and I really appreciate that emphasis on knowledge because like it's very, very important when it comes to knowing how to, deal with money and, like I said earlier, accumulate wealth. Sorry, it wasn't a big comment, but and then also I wanted to ask everyone, like, were there any topics or themes that were brought up in the book that you guys like disagreed with or wish that the book would like have added on to more, if that makes sense?
Okay. I believe, does anyone have anything else to say before we close that out, or does anybody want to give their last final?
I have some last thoughts, if I may.
Yes.
So I'd like to thank Commissioner for giving us this book. It really gave us a lot of tools to work on, but also give us, insight on how to prepare for once we leave commission and once we get into college, because there are a lot of seniors that are graduating this year. It gives us a lot of financial tools going into our college years and how to minimize and how to spend that wisely. But also, you know, one thing that I didn't hear from anybody else, and that's okay, you know, once you go over time, it's always good to have a financial advisor on hand when you need it. It's not just, you know, for investments, but it's also for money tracking. So, you know, for some folks that do struggle with money, you know I have some friends that do struggle with money, and, you know, I'm usually being the whistleblower, but it's always good to have someone on hand to help you, you know, control that, mainly as a banker or a financial advisor. But that's just my advice.
Okay, now Chair, I'm gonna leave it over to you. I'm gonna share the agenda. 1 second. Okay, you can move on to the next item.
Thank you. Okay, thank you for leading that discussion. Now we're moving on to item F, which is new business. So we're gonna discuss our economic depression resolution. So as you guys know, we've been meeting on the last couple of Mondays to discuss what we want to put into this resolution, and we have our first 2 pages drafted. So I'm not able to share my screen, but Zion is. So does she doesn't have to be co-host to share screen, I don't think. So
no,
Zion, can you share your screen?
Okay, it will let me. All right, can y'all see my screen? Okay.
We see it.
All right.
Are you able to do print layout view of this without the top part?
How do I do that? Let's see view.
Go all the way to the right where under share, that arrow, I think that puts the top thing up all the way to the right of the screen.
Wait, where?
Where the share button is, under that. You see that arrow that puts that whole section up? Yeah, that.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just gonna read through it. So this is our resolution. We started it January 2023. And then it has you guys' names that helped us work on it. So whereas economic oppression is the social act of placing severe economic restrictions on individuals, groups, or institutions. For example, lack of college and test prep for students in low-income schools, lack of teachers. And whereas economic oppression is affecting Wayne County youth and interfering with their education, and whereas in the United States, districts that have more than 50% Black or Latino enrollment are nearly twice as likely to have a funding gap than districts with minority enrollment, less than 50%, and whereas marginalized communities include those who have been historically excluded from involvement in our cities, as well as those continuing to face other barriers to civic participation. This includes those marginalized by factors like race, wealth, immigration status, and sexual orientation, and whereas employment discrimination is a big factor that affects Black Americans, and in most cases, the most common trigger is racism. And whereas low-income school districts are more than twice as likely to have a funding gap as higher-income districts, and whereas low-income students repeat grades at a rate of 28.8% compared to 14.1% of higher-income families, and whereas Wayne County holds 5 of the top 10 poorest schools in Michigan, including the poorest, and whereas Hamtramck Schools is considered the poorest school district in Michigan by median household income, and whereas poverty rates in Detroit are high with approximately 68% of children receiving government assistance, and whereas graduation rates for the Detroit schools holds onto a fairly weak 78%, about 10% lower than the state average. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Wayne County Commission Youth Council on this day of 2023 recognizes that the effect that economic oppression has on marginalized groups in Wayne County specifically targets youth, from lack of educators, insufficient technology, and to inadequate funding, and be it further resolved that the Wayne County Commission Youth Council requests that the Wayne County Commission advocate for more funding into marginalized communities that have a sufficient lack of resources in order to acknowledge the disparities between school districts. More funding for those urban schools will result in increasing graduation rates, standardized test scores, and the number of students who pursue higher education. And be it further resolved that the Wayne County Commission Youth Council requests that students in urban schools and marginalized areas are provided the same resources and opportunities as students in suburban schools. And be it further resolved that the Wayne County Commission Youth Council recognizes and acknowledges that the Wayne County Commission cannot allocate funds. Therefore, the Wayne County Commission Youth Council strongly urges members to implement internships for students in urban schools to ensure a level playing field between students in marginalized communities and students who are not. And be it further resolved that the Wayne County Commission Youth Council requests that schools add programs that allow students in urban areas to have the resources such as mentoring and scholarships programs. Having partner organizations that work with companies to allow students to work and earn credit towards graduating. The programs can help students have assistance in closing the gap while not adding.
My bad, sorry.
You good. While not adding on other societal pressures. And be it further resolved that the Wayne County Commission Youth Council recognizes programs such as these are already implemented. Therefore, the Wayne County Commission Youth Council requests that the opportunities such as financial literacy classes and mentoring programs are made mandatory in order to allow students in urban schools to have the same resources as those in suburban schools. And be it further resolved that copies of this resolution be forwarded to the Wayne County Commission, all members of the Wayne County delegation and the Michigan legislature, the direction of the Michigan State Board of Education and every school board within Wayne County. And then we have our sources cited.
Wonderful job, dear and Zion. Wonderful job.
Thanks. I do want to say.
I agree. Yep. That sounds great. What we'll do, if you are almost done with it, Pam, you're on the line still? The clerk?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. So what we'll do is forward it to Felicia, and which is our corporate counsel for the commission, and then also to Pam, who is the clerk, to kind of help with it. It's a lot of whereases that we could probably combine, but once you are completely done with it, then we'll forward it to them to help.
Through the chair, good evening. Ebony Adams is on, Assistant Commission Counsel. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
Hello. I believe you guys have our contact information in Commission Counsel's office. And I can also put it in the chat whenever you guys done, send it over to us.
You want it through an email, or you just want me to add you to the document?
I can give you guys their emails.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I can give it to you guys. Zion and Dear.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, did you need more time to work on the resolution, or you think you are just about set?
I don't know. Like, do you guys, members, everyone in the meeting, do you guys think that, do we need to add something? Do we need to take anything out? Because if we don't need to add anything or take anything out, then we can just send it over for editing. Because, yeah, unless you guys think that we need to add something or take something out or whatever you feel.
I mean, I think we're fine for now. I mean, it looks pretty good. And because we had to go back and forth between, youth and, marginalized, when we went through those topics in committee, we had to, pick and choose which ones that were beneficial. And I think, sticking with youth, we have a lot of cited resources here. And I think, in my opinion, we should be okay. But, I'm open to see what everybody else has. But, it's your call, Madam Chair.
I'm vice chair.
Oh, my vice chair.
Okay, so that's one person who says it really doesn't matter. Anybody else?
Somebody have their hand up. Karis, can you speak?
I can't speak.
Yes, I was just wondering if we would be able to have a sort of solution specific to Black communities in our resolution?
I think we discussed this in the Monday meetings. We don't want to exclude anyone. So that's why we stuck towards the school
Marginalized.
Yeah, the school. That's why we use the term marginalized in urban, just to make sure we don't exclude anyone, because there are communities in Wayne County where it's not just Black people. There's Latino communities, Muslim communities, just a lot of other communities, because Wayne County is very diverse. So we don't want to make it seem like it's geared towards just one group of people. I'm still sharing my screen. There is a part though where it says, it should be here somewhere. Oh yeah, we talked about Hamtramck Public Schools. I could have sworn we said something about, oh, there we go. Whereas employment discrimination is a big factor that affects Black Americans, and in most cases, the most common trigger is racism. I thought that was a good compromise, because I remember in the Monday meetings you said something about that, something along those lines. So I think that's a good compromise without making anyone feel excluded.
And I think Zion is correct, but if you have a statement, a resolution that you think should fit in here, you can craft it and send it over to the chair or the committee, and then they can look at that and maybe they can include it. So did you have something already crafted that you want to express in this resolution?
Wanted to know. Okay, thank you. I don't think I have it into the right words right now, but
okay. But if you do, just if you come up with something that you think is not being expressed, or maybe you want expressed further, then just craft that paragraph and send it over, and then they can look at it.
Okay, thank you. Will do.
Thank you for your question. Does anyone else have anything they want us to add? I do remember at our last meeting, someone suggested that we input how COVID affected people in Wayne County and their education, young people, how it affected people that are already in poverty in their education. So I think we're gonna implement, add something about that in here.
So because there are funds that are currently available under the American Rescue Plan Act, if you tie it to COVID, there may be programming that we can literally actually put into play. So that was what I suggested. If you have any statistics or any factual data that you see might fit into this that relates to COVID, then you can definitely try to include that. It is not mandatory, or it doesn't have to be, but we definitely know that COVID has impacted communities, especially the marginalized communities, and in the area of education. And so if you have any factual data, you can add that as well.
I believe
thank you.
The drafting document, the brainstorming document, I believe Rishi has some in that document that he put in there. I have to go back and check, but I believe he has some, like a chart or something.
Yes, and you can add a chart to a resolution. So, yeah, you could do that if you wanted.
Anybody else? Feedback. You don't have to have anything that you want added or removed. Just feedback.
Okay, if no one has anything else to add right now, if you think of something, you could tell us in the group chat. Come up with something and send it to me, and I'll figure out if we're gonna add it. Now we're going to move on to item G on the agenda, announcements by members. I have an announcement. Does anyone, well, I'm going to pull that up. Does anyone else have any announcements?
Madam Chair, I have a few announcements.
Okay, go ahead.
I had one too, after him, I guess.
Vice Chair, you can go first. I'll be nice.
This is not my announcement. I just want everyone to know, Jada Lipscomb, she's not here. She's a member. I've been friends with her since literally we were born. Her birthday is Saturday, January, I think that's Saturday. I don't know. Whenever January 28th is, that's her birthday. So if you remember, if not, just put in a group chat, happy early birthday, Jada, or something along those lines. Just so she could see it and just feel seen. And yeah, that's it.
And to that point, Madam Vice Chair, I think if we can maybe have you or the Vice Chair moving forward to acknowledge birthdays.
Yeah, I have a note thing. Hold on, let me pull it up real quick.
Okay, with everyone's birthday, that would be great. To make sure that we do that at every meeting. Either if it's coming up or if we just missed it, you know, we just want to acknowledge birthdays.
Robert's birthday was December 16th, so happy belated birthday. Rishi's birthday is March 28th, so happy early birthday.
Okay.
Joseph's birthday is March 17th, so happy early birthday to you. And
yeah, so we'll have a meeting before their birthday, but anybody's birthday that was before that and we didn't acknowledge them. Yeah.
My birthday was November 22nd.
All right. Well, we missed you. Happy birthday, and happy birthday to all of the members that we may have missed. We will try to do better in that.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Happy birthday, Robert, as well.
Well, that was my announcement. So go ahead, Robert.
Thank you. No hard feelings. I understand a lot of people have things going on, but do I get my happy belated birthday cake? That's the one thing I want to ask. But getting straight to business, first off, on a personal note, I'd like to acknowledge the 1.5-year service from McKenna Tarango. She's actually a good friend of mine. And just this past week, we found out that she stepped down. She did a lot of work on our last resolution that I was not a part of last year's term. I admire her work, and you know, she's done a lot of great things for this council, and you know, we definitely will keep her, you know, alive in the council because she's done a lot, and you know, we would like to acknowledge her for her service, and definitely wish her well in whatever profession she goes to. The second thing I'd like to make known is our resolution. I've enjoyed every second working on our resolution together, just drafting this and crafting it. It's been an absolute honor to work with Madam Vice Chair and Madam Chair to really craft this, but also have the backing support of our, you know, our commissioner for all the amazing support, but also, you know, most of all, Nairobi has been there to aid us and help us. So that's the one thing I'd like to make known, and, you know, acknowledge her for all her great service. And a couple more things I want to make known. I'd also like to thank Sam Olson for coming down and speaking with us. He's absolutely a wonderful person. Me admiring and watching his work over the last couple of years has been, you know, what kind of inspired me to get involved with politics mostly, but, you know, following some other folks. So he's a great person. So definitely let's keep in touch with him and, you know, try to make some progress, but also we can improve ourselves as a youth council with working with him and also give us tips on what we want to do in the future in terms of politics. The last note I want to make known is our website. I have some concerns with it. Per to the Open Meetings Act, we do offer public comment. We do go through motions. We do go through, a simple adjournment. But the one thing that really catches my mind is we don't have the websites for our Zoom links for the public to join, our agendas and our videos. Can we make some changes and for our next meetings, but other meetings in the future, can we at least put them on the site for public to join? Because I think a lot of public members are very interested in our youth council. I have some friends that are interested, in our youth council and possibly joining next year, but there's no way for them to join besides the videos that, are posted. But, we have this half recorded meeting that I have a concern with. So I just want to make that point known, but it was absolutely a great month. And
Robert,
going into 2023, we have a lot.
Yeah, Robert, thank you so much for bringing that up. You are correct that we need a lot of work and help on our website. So I'd like to charge you to work with our communications team with Wayne County directly to get that up and running, photos, links, all of that good stuff that should be there. So get with Nairobia and she will direct you to our communications team through the Wayne County Commission. And you can help get the website together for us. So I look forward to that. Okay.
So sorry I had a whole lot of stuff, but hopefully that kind of cleared up a lot of the information. But thanks again. Look forward to speaking with you guys next month. Thanks.
Thank you. I just wanted to talk about the email that we all got about the events we were invited to, fostering men of color in education. I'm sure it was, the email said it was sent to all of you guys. So I'm just gonna say it's on February 27th from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. The flyer was included in the link, but I could also send it in the iMessage group chat and Instagram group chat. And it can, if we attend it, it will help us gain more insight while discussing our resolution. So I'll just send that. And I just wanted to remind you of that because I see that you guys are all, like, your names are listed for the email.
I have something to say. This is Zion. I think that if it's possible, because I know I won't be able to go because I have to work tomorrow. But if it's possible, can at least 1 or 2 members attend and like take notes, and then get back to us just so we can have that information, because it does seem like it'll help us out. So like 1 or 2 members or whoever feels like they want to go, and can you guys just like take notes, because I won't be able to go because I have to go to work. But if I could go, I would go. So yeah, this is
Madam Chair, I'll volunteer to go.
Thank you. And again, I'll send the link out. Remember, it's virtual and it's only an hour from 4 to 5. So I'll put this in the group chat for anybody, and then I'll put it in again, like when we get closer to that date. But that's all I have. Now we're gonna move on to item H on the agenda, which is public comment. Do we have any public comment?
Oh, wait, can I ask one more question about the resolution?
Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. So a few meetings ago, I brought up the term reparations, and I was wondering, how would I include that into the resolution now? Because I understand what you guys were saying about how it may offend some people and how we need to include everyone. But as I'm reading the solution so far, I know that we have included many other races and have used inclusive language. And I think it's important to highlight Black communities specifically, as they are the most impacted by economic oppression. So how would we still get the idea of reparations across in our solution?
Commissioner Baker McCormick can touch on this because I don't know what else to say, but our point of this resolution is not reparations that's not our point. It's not reparations. Our point is to bring awareness to economic oppression for all of Wayne County, not just the Black community.
Okay, I understand. And I just noticed that Diera put a sigh in the comments. I don't know if that was for me, but yeah, I'm just asking to try to get a overlook of the whole solution and, you know, what I can add.
Right. And so, Karis, again, that's going back to the messaging of the resolution. If you have a statement that you would like to add to the resolution that is relevant to reparations, then craft that message, and it could be inclusive in the resolution dealing with economic oppression. But because I think you guys made the messaging of the resolution more narrow, I think, you know, if you go off in one direction too far, then, you know, you could have 100 pages of a resolution. So I think they were just trying to narrow the topic down. But again, if you have a statement that could complement this resolution that deals with reparations, and it could be the last resolve maybe, or one of the resolves that talks to, again, funding in communities of color. And I don't know if the council has any advice on this, that maybe we can talk to our corporate counsel to see how and what we could do in that, and to add any of those resolves.
Absolutely, through the chair, if I may speak.
Actually, Ebony, if I may.
Okay. Thanks,
I'm sorry. So I have two quick comments. One, I think if the group is in favor, you can put whatever in and we'll offer you some comments on all of your entire resolution, including any potential language regarding reparations. But there's one thing I think you all should keep in mind. You're writing this resolution because you're hoping to see solutions, and you're asking other entities to take action. So you have to be mindful that if you put anything in a resolution that could be divisive or seen as divisive or controversial by those boards, you're less likely to get action. So sometimes you have to edit your documents based on the results or the audience that you're writing to and the solutions that you're trying to get, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we talked about that at the last 2 meetings on Mondays. And I thought we were all in favor of kind of just implementing that, but also not. So yeah. But curious, if you really feel strongly about it, just send it to them and they can see how they can add it in. But I don't know if that's gonna help us, because it might just distract from our point of the resolution. But if that's something you feel very strongly about, yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
so now.
Yep.
Do we have
I
any...
just want to make sure, Karis, did you get that?
Yes, I got that. Thank you. Yeah, I was just trying to figure out, how to word it.
And so you can reach out to our council, and maybe they can help you in crafting at least one of the resolves to talk about reparations. I'm not sure how that will fit in, but why don't you come up with what you believe you're wanting to say, and then our council can help craft it. Okay.
Okay, got you.
All right. So we look forward to hearing back from you. Right?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're moving on to item H. Do we have any public comment? Do we have anyone on the line? And now we're moving on to adjournment.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I second
Anyone
that motion.
second that
Robert
motion?
Second motion.
Meeting adjourned. Our next meeting is February 23rd, 2023 at 6 o'clock. It's a Zoom meeting. We'll have the link emailed to us, and then I'll send it in the group chat when I get it, and then I'll send it in the group chat again before it starts. Thank you. See you guys at our next meeting.
Have a good month. Take care.